Boris Johnson has threatened to suspend the post-Brexit trade deal agreed with the EU as talks with the bloc on the Northern Ireland Protocol reach a stalemate. The UK is currently embroiled in talks with the EU to come up with a solution to the controversial Northern Ireland Protocol. Mr. Johnson's Brexit Minister Lord Frost has branded the current measures as unworkable and has implored the EU to change its tack, as he warns the UK would continue to consider all our options. The threat could see Britain unilaterally suspend or pull out of the trade deal altogether, something Lord Frost repeatedly threatened during last year's crunch trade talks. Lord Frost made the comments after visiting business leaders in Belfast on Tuesday, where he hoped the EU would take a common-sense approach. He said, "It's clear from my visit that the protocol is presenting significant challenges for many in Northern Ireland. Businesses have gone to extraordinary efforts to make the current requirements work, but it is hard to see that the way the protocol is currently operating can be sustainable for long. We're committed to working through the issues with the EU urgently and in good faith. I hope they will take a common-sense, risk-based approach that enables us to agree a pragmatic way forward that substantially eases the burdens on Northern Ireland." The Northern Ireland Protocol was created to stop the creation of a hard border on the island of Ireland. In its place, a sea border was created which would allow goods to move between the two countries freely. It does, however, mean Northern Ireland must apply certain customs and single market rules of the EU. As part of last year's trade deal, it was agreed supermarkets would be given a 3-month grace period to avoid the stringent checks. Despite this, some disruption to food supplies was seen at the start of the year, with fresh produce missing from some shelves, prompting Northern Ireland businesses to demand a longer grace period. On March 3, the UK government unilaterally decided to extend the period until October, among other moves to ease the current trade burdens. But the EU has claimed the changes breaks international law and has launched legal action against the UK. Captain Baptiste Ganon says new fishing licensing regulations after Brexit mean he will lose half of his business. The Cap Liu is now only allowed to fish in Jersey's waters for 22 days of the year, after previously being allowed for at least 100 days before the UK left the EU. He said to Sky News, "Jersey needs France in order to sell its produce, and we need them for 50% of the fishing waters we use." It's an agreement that's been in place for years and that they've broken. It followed Jersey introducing new licenses for French fishers in the wake of Brexit, with access to the licenses granted based on how much fishing French boats carried out in the island's waters between February 2017 and January 2020. France was furious over the new amendments, with more than 60 boats carrying out a protest at St. Helier. Morgan Stanley, Barclays, and Goldman Sachs are among those moving senior bankers to EU offices, sources tell Reuters. Investment banks are shifting more rainmakers out of London to financial centres across the European Union, accelerating the pace of moves after the pandemic and uncertainty over Britain's access to the bloc slowed relocations. Morgan Stanley, Barclays, and Goldman Sachs are among those moving senior bankers, according to sources at the lenders, as European regulators push banks to better staff their EU offices and travel restrictions ease. Local hiring has also increased. The EU has told the UK the controversial Northern Ireland Protocol is here to stay after Lord Frost fired a warning to the Brussels bloc. It comes as Lord Frost held meetings with loyal paramilitary groups following a series of tense protests over the Brexit trade regulations. The protocol was incorporated into the Brexit withdrawal agreement to help avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland. EU officials said the post-Brexit checks in Northern Ireland were a consequence of Johnson's pursuit of a reckless Brexit, and of the deal he signed. One EU official said they were committed to the protocol and stressed, "We believe the protocol is here to stay." With joint coordination from the UK, we are committed to a firm but fair solution. Boris Johnson is expected to urge U.S. President Joe Biden to drop flight restrictions between America and the UK, according to reports. PBS NewsHour reported it obtained a U.S. diplomatic cable which stated that Robert Courts, Minister for Aviation and Maritime, requested an urgent meeting with a top official at the U.S. Embassy in London. The cable read, Courts expressed surprise that the United States continues to restrict entry under 212 F for UK travellers despite Her Majesty's government's HMG successful nationwide vaccination campaign and greatly decreased COVID-19 infection and death rates. Mr. Courts said that London and New York should create an air bridge to allow for transatlantic travel to resume. He also expected T. Michel Barnier used the paintings inside the Treasury as mirrors to adjust his hair or his toupee, Lord Paul Miners once said. In 2011, former Labour City and Treasury Minister Lord Paul Miners was reportedly incredibly annoyed with Mr. Barnier's proposed reforms of credit rating agencies. At the time Mr. Barnier was serving as Internal Market Commissioner. Lord Miners issued a brutal warning about him, after recalling an embarrassing gaffe Mr. Barnier made at Westminster. He told the House of Lords, "I met Mr. Barnier when he was a minister, he came to see us at the Treasury, he came down the corridor and I was watching him. I am a great fan of art and I was rather impressed that he stopped to look at every painting. I thought, this is a man with whom I share a common interest. Until I realized he was actually looking at his reflection in the glass on every painting, and just adjusting his hair or his toupee. Emmanuel Macron's France is acting like a rogue state with its threat to block UK financial firms seeking access to the EU's market in a bid to force Britain to back down over access for French fishing boats, an MP has said. David Jones, deputy chairman of the European Research Group, ERG, believes the move probably stems from Mr. Macron's concern at his re-election prospects next year. Clement Beaune, France's Minister for European Affairs and a close ally of the French president, has already hinted at the possibility of his country moving to delay access for UK financial services, and insiders have confirmed such a strategy was under consideration. The Tory MP for Clwyd West told Express.co.uk, the French position is completely without merit. Even if they had reasonable cause for complaint about access to the waters around Jersey and the UK, the way that they are trying to bully their way into getting what they want, by threatening to cut off electricity supplies to Jersey, and now trying to stop UK access to EU financial markets, is wholly illegitimate. Dylan Donnelly takes over from reporting from James Bickerton. Spain has urged the EU to bring forward crunch talks regarding the future of Gibraltar after Brexit. The self-governing British Overseas Territory is not covered by the UK's Trade and Cooperation Agreement, and separate negotiations with the EU are set to take place to argue a post-Brexit treaty. Arantxa González Laya said she hoped Brussels would finalize the bloc's negotiating mandate shortly, so that talks can commence.